All right, what's up, everybody? We have 10-ish minutes here. Mark and Erik are in the same room as me, Jimmy on the mic here. And I tell you what, guys, this topic warms my heart because it is a 10-minute talk-ish, as we all know, about turkey stuff. And actually, if you go way, way back in time, our first ever 10-minute talk was us three talking about turkey stuff at around this time of year. It was turkey vest versus backpack. Which do you take into the field? And it was kind of a shot in the dark. We had no idea what 10-minute talks were going to become.
And here we are.
Here we are. We're doing another versus because we've just been in the midst of like 2 full weeks at the time of this recording of just frigid below zero temps pretty much all over the nation, I believe. And anyway, spring fever is beginning to be in the air. But you guys, it's going to be a bit of a hen fight between Mark and Erik here with the box call versus slate call. And both of these are means of basically calling in the toms. Am I right?
There you go. Jim, you know how I like to be positive, right? And I thought we were going to go into this discussion being essentially talking about all the pros of each of these calls, possibly even talk about them individually. And now it's like
Erik's
this versus thing.
Now we're talking the one call that you can't afford not to own and the one call you don't need at all.
Oof.
Oh, dude,
Erik
that is literally fighting words. Comment below if you disagree with Erik already.
He hasn't even said which one yet, though.
Well,
is which, right?
I think we all.
If you're looking on the camera right now and you're watching on YouTube, you see Erik has 2 slate. What is this? Is this 1 or 2? Or is that a cap?
I got a glass and a slate.
So you have 2.
Oh, so you need
calls here
2
with
calls.
3 different strikers, and you've got all the little associated bits. Mark has 2 box calls on the table, and he does have 1 glass. What do you call it? A glass slate call or just a glass call?
I still call it a slate call.
I call it a
call,
slate too. Yeah,
even though it's a glass version of a slate call.
Yep.
Erik, present your argument first, since you sound so impassioned about it.
All right. So this takes me back to age about 12. I went into Gander Mountain and knew nothing about turkey hunting. And I asked the guy working, like, what call I needed to go turkey hunting. He said, if you have one call that's going to rule them all, it's going to be the slate call for a few reasons.
So you're still going off that 16-year-old kid that you met at Gander Mountain?
12. Well, I was 12 at the time.
He was 16.
And he has not steered me wrong because I finally carried a box call for the first time last year. Didn't even pull it out.
Well, is that the box call's fault, or is that just your fault?
I think there's nothing that the box call can do that the slate call can't do.
It seems like the slate call takes a bit more finesse. Like, you have to know what you do. Like, I've picked up a box call, and I don't know a lot about calling turkeys, but, like, you just kind of move it around, and it makes turkey sounds. Like this, I tried your slate call last turkey season, and I sounded like a complete idiot.
It definitely takes a little more finesse, but you have more volume control with it. You also have more opportunity for, like, inflection, so adding that, like, that personality into the call.
A little bit of emotion.
So, like, you can get, like, super loud. You can, the big argument for a box call, which I agree with,
hold on.
Write something down. The big argument for a box call.
Hey, talk about your slate calls.
Is I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to what my slate call does better than your box call.
Hen fight, everybody.
It has nothing to do with the calling. It's just the banter between Erik and I. That's the hen fight.
The one thing that a box call, everybody hears about how they cut the wind so well. And I would argue that a slate call or a glass call, whatever, cuts the wind as good and wears 7 more hats than the box call.
So you
does not.
break wind better with a slate call.
Break wind better with a slate. You can get real loud, and you can get real soft.
Talk to him.
Oh, yes. And it just makes them come unglued.
Ooh, snap back to reality. All right.
Wow.
I was in a different place there.
Yeah. So what are the...
Am I blushing?
One of the things about slate calls, now, it seems very versatile. You can do a lot of different things with it. Now, it seems a bit finicky, too.
Yeah.
So you got to have, you were freaking out earlier because somebody came by and started touching your striker.
Yes.
And then I know that if it's raining out, which we all know it often happens in the spring, then that gets wet, your striker's messed up, it's not making the right sounds. I mean, that it's a bit high maintenance.
It is.
I will say, and you bring out, like, we're making light of this, but I actually, like, I know that Erik, and I would have been the same way, was like cringe factor 12 when somebody who was just not their fault, not familiar with turkey hunting, not familiar with turkey calls. You look at this thing, you pick it up, and you're like, oh, the surface is roughed up there. I want to touch it.
Yep.
Or no touchy. I guess. So, like, and that's just, you don't know that unless you know. So if you're picking up somebody's slate call, don't, as Erik likes to say, don't wipe your oily hands all over my slate call.
Oils all over it.
But it's actually, that's just good practice. You want to be mindful of that surface.
Yeah, and that is why, like, Jimmy, to your point, definitely more high maintenance than most calls. I think the box call still has some of the same limitations with moisture and whatnot. I do think that, is it an aluminum call that is a little bit more resistant to moisture and whatnot?
I think you get like a sharper sound out of it too, though, which could be good.
Yep.
You know. But.
Yep. But so, like, generally speaking, with that, I mean, they do make some cool lids to cover stuff up. I keep my strikers in an internal pocket, and but then also carry a little like a Brillo pad, and then some like pretty rough sandpaper.
Okay.
I'd say most of your calls are going to come with those items that are kind of maybe optimized for the surface that you have. Like you said, I mean, even though we're calling all these slate calls, you've got, a glass surface, which I actually think may not even be glass. We just call it glass, and then you got the actual slate, and then you're talking about an aluminum pot call or slate call.
Why would you get glass? The glass, what's the point of that?
Just different sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, actually, you can even kind of tell a little bit with difference. So, like, this would be a glass that you're going to have a little bit sharper. This is like what you're going to go to on a super windy day, or if you just want a little bit more sharpness in that cluck. So you can hear that right in the front and that yow.
Yeah.
Whereas on this one, for instance, like this just being a traditional slate call, it's more of that like soft, lonely hen that you'll hear. It's just the same tone throughout.
So lonely.
So lonely.
That's like that clickbait at the bottom of websites. Lonely singles in your area.
They're not in your. Come to find out, they're not in your area even.
No.
Unreal.
Who would have thought that? I will say, Erik, I feel like judging from, I think I counted the 24 tally marks, I think denoting some sort of death toll there on that. I mean,
it's not
call
survivors, I'll tell you that
much. I'm obviously alluding to its effectiveness, but I would also say maybe a little bit of personal bias as well.
Yep.
Are you going to discuss your box calls now, Marco?
So but first, Jim, I will also promote just the excellent attributes of the slate call. My first turkey call was a glass call, or glass surface slate call.
Yep.
And loved it. Killed many birds with it.
Yep.
I mean, and again, like kind of, I guess, a neophyte turkey hunter, just getting into it, learning the turkey sounds, watching VHS tapes, like Hunter Specialties VHS tapes. I think, one came with my dad's turkey vest. I about wore it out. But yeah, I mean, great calls. Like Erik said, you can make every sound you need. Tons of control. You can get loud. You can get soft. I think like we talked about before, probably a little bit more learning to it, or you're going to have to fiddle with it longer to kind of get it to make those sounds that you want it to make. Not impossible, and I think once you get it down, you'll get it down. You'll be super effective with it. So it's not like some crazy daunting task at the same time. A couple other things, you got different surfaces, you got different strikers, so you can make one call sound several different ways. Depending, you might find one that just works for you, and that could be the angle at which you hold the striker.
Absolutely.
And even if you're using the same striker all the time, the angle at which you hold the striker is going to, give you some different sounds, or allow you to make a, like I'm sure you're doing when you're making a hard cluck there, you're doing something different when you're than when you're making a yelp there, Erik. So, so anyway, I love the slate call.
So averse to conflict, Mark.
I hate it.
Conflict gets downloads, Mark. This is podcast. Come on.
Let's get into the uselessness.
Tell Erik that. Tell Erik.
What do you want? The Real Housewives of turkey hunting here?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, like
exactly. Talk about these box calls.
So yeah, box call. I think another great call, and a call I think everybody should have in their turkey hunting arsenal. I think if I was going to pick one that I go, yep, that's the easiest one to use, and you're going to be able to make all the turkey sounds that you need to make. It's a friction call, similar to
great decoration
the slate
in
call.
your vest.
I mean, basically, like without even, I don't know anything about using one of these things.
Just
and
made
I just
turkey
made turkey sounds, right?
Exactly. And what I wrote down here, Jim, is actually the box call runs itself, because this is a Lynch foolproof. Gave away one of my turkey secrets. This is a good call. Now, actually, I've got this Woodhaven Ninja hen, and that one is a bit nasty, and I like using that one too now. But this one came with a rubber band around it to like keep it closed, right? So it wouldn't make sound when you don't want it to make sound. I lost that years ago, never replaced it.
Been spooking birds ever since.
You know what?
Love these things. Let's keep going.
Actually, Erik, it's called Birds In.
Yep.
I mean, and this is kind of more of a funny story than anything else, but it actually makes kind of like minute like clucks and squeaks and squeals that are very akin to like those super subtle turkey sounds that you hear, and they're not one that you're gonna maybe like automatically like, I'm gonna make that sound. Yeah, I've accidentally gotten birds to gobble.
Yeah.
And even when I was trying to make a move on some turkeys one time, it like made a few sounds in my turkey vest
in tandem with the rustling and
those birds came a running and we shot them. Like it was pretty cool. So, but again, very easy to use. You're going to need some things like, Erik's talking about roughing up that slate call. Box call chalk. I always buy box call chalk. I had some out here right now. It looks
literally lost it.
Yeah, where did it go? We've only been on here
I put it back in my turkey
minutes.
vest so I wouldn't lose it. I mean, if you've ever seen brown chalk, that's what it looks like. You can get it at your sporting goods store in the turkey call section. If you buy a box call, it might even come with it sometimes. But I don't know if there's even a difference between regular chalk, but I always get the box call chalk because it says box call chalk right on it.
Marketing.
And it's brown, so it's camo.
Yeah.
But again, so you're going to want to chalk, you can chalk either, I guess, kind of like the rails of the call here. You can chalk the lid for whatever reason. I generally chalk the lid, right, wrong, otherwise. But you can get soft on this thing. You can make clucks, you can make purrs, and you can make some mighty loud yelps. And I've gotten aggressive on this thing and had a lot of success when really nothing else would work, including using a slate call. And I think that's another reason why it's good to have a variety of calls in your pocket, because could be just that one sound that they like, or you can get a little bit of emotion out of one or the other. So I don't know if the mic's going to be able to pick this up or not, but some purrs, get soft on it. So that would be kind of, I guess, an example of some of the sounds that you get on a box call.
Erik, I think that was louder than yours.
Look at Jim trying to incite the.
You're really all right. You're really trying hard over there, but I'm just saying, Mark's looked pretty effortless, and it was very loud.
It is loud. And the other thing that
damn it, it is loud.
I'm here to stoke the fire.
So one thing that I notice when I hear box calls, it has that very pronounced fall off on the back end of the note, that like key out, like very distinctly different than what you can do on a slate. So I mean, it is another tool in your toolkit, so to speak. But I think the big thing there is like just the fact that it produces different sounds. And if you've got two slate calls or several different strikers, you can probably do the same on a slate.
Nope, no doubt. I'm not saying
if you're
one
carrying
is
around all this stuff that you apparently can't have any oils touch or anything else happen to it. I mean,
and do not lose
carry it
these
around in a vacuum.
Don't lose your favorite
container?
striker.
Yes.
Or actually, I'm pretty sure I've found some other people's favorite strikers. So thank you.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess like if I were gonna wrap a bow on, like, if I was looking for one call right now to get into it, like, I think you can grow with a slate a little bit more than you can with a box call. Not saying that there isn't a place for the box, but I just know like my personal calling style with like I've had this call since I was like 12 years old, and my like calling style and my effectiveness with it has gotten better as I've like gotten more springs under my belt with it in my vest. Like also paying attention to how you condition your strikers. You don't want to get too over the top with like low grit sandpaper, so the super rough stuff.
Yeah.
Because then that's when you end up, producing sounds from your striker that are a little bit unnatural or takes a little bit more getting used to get back into like the way that it used to work.
How are you conditioning your strikers? And I guess maybe it depends on the striker material, perhaps. Yeah. But because you got some like I guess carbon strikers, and then you got all wood ones there, which.
So I think
I use both actually. Yeah, but
I think the Brillo pad, like something like that, is probably the best.
So that Brillo pad is enough for the striker portion.
I've used this. Like you can see, that's pretty roughed up, and like if you actually look really close at the tip, you can see that it's not like concentric. Mm-hmm. Because I've definitely gotten a little like heavy-handed on sandpaper stuff in the past, and then there was a very probably a month period where I just I was ready to part ways with the striker. Like I could not get it to sound good.
It's like drawing with a pencil. When you first sharpen the pencil, everything's ruined until your hand and your drawing form and your writing form naturally wear the pencil back to the place where it should be.
And that's why you alluded to angle. Mm-hmm. If I'm gonna cut real heavy, I'm gonna have the striker at a very sharp angle. Whereas if I'm gonna purr, it's more straight up and down.
Mm-hmm. And I guess for anybody who hasn't run a striker on a slate call before, I mean, it's really akin to holding it. At least I hold it like a pencil, right? I know some other guys do some different techniques, and some guys hold the call, different ways. But
what do you do with your calling hand? I'm curious about this.
I just rest it on the edge of the call. And really, I brace it, and then I'm really just using only my fingers to make the motion, I guess.
Because what I started doing in the last couple of years is just like in archery, you have an anchor point.
Right.
My anchor point is basically my pinky, and then my ring finger on my left hand. I grab that because then I always know where it is, and it's actually off in space.
Right.
As soon as I get it on, I can't make any good sounds. So it operates best off in space and by grabbing the end of my fingers.
Consistency.
Yep.
Look at that.
Well, actually, I guess I am kind of doing the same thing. I thought I was resting it on the call, but I'm.
But yours is like touching the
I
side.
am
I'm
more braced on that.
Yep.
Interesting. Boy. Okay. Well, I'll have to give that a try. That'll take some getting used to.
The floating anchor point.
All right.
Hold on.
We can't touch 20 minutes, Mark.
Oh,
it's forbidden.
Okay, here's the deal. One thing I will say, so your slate call is going to come with some sandpaper. This is not a wax on, wax off motion when you're getting that call roughed up. You're going to want to go pick a single direction. I feel like it's easy to do. Generally, these calls come with some artwork on them, and then you're going to call essentially across the grain. Would you say that's pretty accurate, Erik, or not?
I would on a glass call. I don't know which way I go. I go like this. I go like that.
So on the slate, you're a little bit more
loosey-goosey.
Yep. Watch now. It's not going to sound any good. Yeah, on the slate, I think it doesn't matter as much as a glass. As a glass, you'll definitely want to keep a consistent grain direction.
Noted.
Yep.
Good stuff. Okay. All right. Excellent. Let's hear what you out there listening. What do you use? What do you prefer? What have you had good luck with? Drop it in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube or on Instagram if you decide to go that route as well, at Vortex Nation Podcast. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. All right. We will see all of you on the next one. Bye.
Bye. Comment below if you also don't know why Erik hates the box call.
Comment below if you have common sense.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Mark, I mean, literally, it's like that whole time you just kept hating on slate calls. It's like you just couldn't get over the fact that you just hate slate calls. Erik, of course, conversely hates box calls.
Yep.
I love slate calls.
There's a line in the sand.
There's a line in the sand.
I don't know
you guys
why
are
is
in
there
opposition.
a line?
You're like two rams.
No, there's not.
Yep.
Hitting each other.
I didn't even get to finish so I want to jump back on because you cut me off. I wanted to talk about the reason why you might want to have multiple box calls.
It's forbidden to go over 20 minutes, Mark. That's
I'm not,
loud.
I'm
That's
not
loud.
saying it's pleasant, but it works.
Yo, that call is loud.
The best part of that is when you call that loud, you don't even hear the gobble response because he's 10 miles away and you can't hear him.
No, it's because your gun just went off because you got him.
I like it.
I think you just worked a little on my tinnitus with that call in my ear.
All right, I must
That
run.
right there, that call, you know what that says? That's turkey for, hey, I'm a lonely single in your area.
Hey, swipe right.
Oh, that is awesome.
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure.
Thank you, Erik.
Can you imagine if, like, Tinder was just sounds?
Oh,
And you
God.
just heard a sound and then you would determine whether or not you would swipe? That's what turkeys are like.
That
They're
is
like,
basically
yeah,
what
it's
it is.
sound out there.
You get to swipe right a lot more.
Swipe left.